Hey, I'm Fifi, and I wanted to share my curly girl routine. So I've been using these new products that I found at Walmart and Sally's. They're called My Black is Beautiful. And this is the leave-in conditioner. So when I'm doing my hair to curl it, I use a leave-in conditioner and I use a mousse or a gel. In this case, I'm gonna be using a gel also by My Black is Beautiful. It's called Defining Gel. It has golden milk with honey and coconut oil. So I've been using these products now for 3 weeks, and I really like the way that they're leaving my hair. They give me definition, but they also leave it soft. So I'm gonna start by separating my hair into sections so that I can distribute the product evenly. So I'm gonna start with this bottom section here. And I'm gonna start with my leave-in. Now with my leave-in, it's a concentrated amount, so I just use a little dollop and I add it into my hair. I just smooth it in. Maybe do some finger brushing, but I also have my Denman brush handy. So I brush it in. Now, do you have to use a Denman brush? Not necessarily. I don't do anything fancy with it. I'm just brushing in the product. So honestly, I could probably use any brush for this. I know that there's methods out there that you can twirl your hair and, do the curl, and that's fine. I just don't know how to do it. So I keep it simple. Then I add my jelly, and I do this to every section. Again, you really don't need a lot of this jelly because you're using a concentrated amount and it's such a small piece of your hair. So you're gonna smooth it into your hair again, into that section. Make sure every piece gets some of that jelly. And if you're wondering, oh, maybe I missed a spot, that's what that brush is for. So you brush it in, and now we start the finger coiling. Now, when I tell people about my curly hair process and that I finger coil, they immediately assume, oh no, this is gonna take way too much time. I don't have time to style my hair one strand at a time and finger coil. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of my hair and I'm just curling it with my finger. It's nothing that technical. And the smaller the pieces, the more curl and volume that I'll have. If you want to do bigger pieces, then you'll have big defined curls, which is fine. But I like my hair to be a little bit more fuller. So I do that to this side, that side, and then I do it to this side. Do they have to be perfect? No, we're not going for perfection here. I have a lot of noises in the background. There's a train that lives by me, so just ignore. But yeah, so we do that to the bottom section. Now I timed this one time and it took me 15 minutes to do my whole hair. I don't think that's a long amount of time considering that I only wash my hair maybe twice a week. So I'm only doing this twice a week, really. After you finger coil, you wanna scrunch. You wanna scrunch that hair to make sure those curls are remembering what they need to do, which is be defined and also be voluminous. So now we're done with that section and we're gonna continue with the next section. We separate our hair, same process, and then we clip the rest. You wanna make sure that your hair is very, very wet. If your hair is not very wet, it can cause a bit more frizz and it's harder for the product to really get in there. So, and everybody's hair is a different texture. I'm Dominican, so I have a little bit of a mix. We're mixed with so many different things. We have European backgrounds and African American as well. So there are some parts of my hair that are a little coarser and need more moisture and more oils. So it just depends on your hair. But my rule of thumb is always choosing something that has extra moisture because curly hair tends to dry out a lot, I live, and it depends on your climate too. Where do you live? I live in Florida. So Florida has lots of humidity. So it took me a little bit. I've only been here for 3 years. It took me a little bit to figure out what products would work. The products that I used up north didn't have the same type of results that maybe a product with more oils in it and more a creamy texture would have. So same process. I'm finger coiling once again, and I'm gonna do that whole process all over again. And at first I was nervous about making a video because honestly, I'm not even sure how I'm gonna edit this because I'm not very savvy when it comes to technology. But I figure, you know, people stop me constantly about my curls, and I want to show people that it doesn't have to be a very difficult process to do your hair. It can be something simple. And yes, it takes a little bit of time and dedication to do these finger coils and, you know, diffuse your hair. It does, but anything that's worth having is going to take some time. You know, even if you're cooking a meal, you're not going to cook the chicken halfway through and leave it raw. We're going to take our time. We're going to season it. Working out, you got to give it your all. You can't half-ass it. So anything that's worth having is going to take a little bit of discipline. And once you've done it enough, it turns into a habit. So here we are doing the back pieces. My hair is longer these days, so sometimes it's harder to reach certain parts. Here we go. And now we're going to take the next section and continue with the same process. I just dyed my hair today, so that might affect a bit of the curls. I dyed my grays because I'm getting up there in age. I've had grays for a very long time. I don't know about you guys, but I got my grays in my 20s, and I'm now 40 years old, and I don't have a lot, but I don't like seeing them. I'm not a fan. Some people can rock the grays, but I just don't like them. So the same process. My hair starts to get a little bit more coarser up top, and I feel that it's dry. So it gets dry pretty quickly and the root. So I make sure that it's very saturated with water so that the product can work and it can really seep in. So it's okay to always, if you want to add a little bit more water, that's fine. So here we go back with our leave-in conditioner, same process. And I forgot what spots I hit, so I'm just gonna go back and just touch up and rub that in. If you gotta add a little more, that's fine. Make sure the tips of your hair, the ends, are getting a lot of moisture, because those parts can dry up quicker. So I brush it in with my Denman brush. Make sure it's all distributed. And then I start again with my finger coiling. Now, I didn't always used to do my hair like this. I used to just kind of put the product in separate sections and then just scrunch the hair. And I mean, while I would get a good result, there was a lot more frizz. It was very unpredictable. I never knew like what my hair was gonna look like at the end. Like you know how some days you have like really good curl days and you're like, oh man, my hair looks fabulous and I have nowhere to go. But other days, when you really need it to look good, it just ends up looking all crazy and like wires almost, and just in every which way direction. The finger coiling kind of guarantees that you're gonna get the same kind of style each time. So I know what to expect. It's not like a surprise. Now I have bangs, so those can be unpredictable and a little frustrating sometimes. But you know, those you gotta have patience for. But I've been learning more to how to manage it. There's that train again. Another thing that I added to my routine is the fact that I now have my own empanada business. So I'm cooking constantly and frying constantly. So I've had to really up my deep conditioning treatments because my hair is taking a toll. So anybody that is a cook or something and has tips for that, that's constantly in the kitchen, because even if I cover up my hair, it still ends up smelling. And while it's nice to smell like sazon every now and then, I don't know, I'd rather not. So yeah, if anybody has a tip on that, I am more than grateful to hear it. So yeah, we're getting towards the end. I don't know how much time has passed. I have 11 minutes on my count. So it's been 11 minutes and I'm almost done styling my hair. And then after this, it's the diffuser. The diffuser usually takes me 20 to 30 minutes. And I have a lot of hair. Hold on a second. So I have a lot of hair. So if you have less, it'll probably take less time. And again, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. So I've got it down to a science. So in the beginning for you, it might be a little bit new and kind of daunting. It shouldn't be, but hey, anything new is different. You know, it's gonna take some time to adjust. So here I am doing the top. Now the top, that is my driest part. That is where my African roots are. Like, we are here, we have arrived. You are Dominican, in case you were in doubt of it. So this is the driest part of my hair. And I really need for it to be very moisturized and very saturated. So I'm adding my gel. I start with the roots. I work my way down to the ends. Now sometimes I might grab the hair that's on the bottom. That's okay, it happens. So here it is, this is the part right there. That's the part right there that gets very dry. And we are going to brush that product in again. And I switch up my products a lot. Like I was using Dew Crazy Sexy Curl Mousse, and I had nothing against it. It's just, it was great. I loved it, honestly. It's just that my hair decides sometimes like, okay, I'm ready for something new. So I have to switch it up. So sometimes mousses will kind of dry out my hair a bit. So I have to find something new. And again, I've been cooking a lot. So the cooking also, that cooking, I love to cook, don't get me wrong. But I'm still, now it's like, you're constantly on a journey with your hair. Like, what do you need? What do you need now? You know? So you gotta be playing around with it. I don't have the budget for very expensive products. I hear about really great products sometimes and I'm like, oh wow, where can I find that? And someone says Sephora and I immediately get scared, or Ulta, because it's those prices are usually really high up there. And I'm a single mom and you know, everything is you know, very tight on the budget. So these products I found at Walmart and Sally's. They were $11.99 each. So each bottle was $11.99 out here in Florida. So that, I mean, that's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Aussie has really affordable products. I just bought like some shampoo and conditioner from Aussie, and it was like $5 for the bottle, which is like unheard of. Usually the shampoos that I use are Shea Moisture, and they're like 10 something for the bottle. and they're very small. So, yeah, so my finger coiling might not be the most perfect in the world, but it does the job, honestly. And at the end of the day, you know, if you're getting a result and it's easy to do, why change it? So, I mean, I know that there's brushes out there and there's techniques, you put constant steps, and I know there's gonna be people who are gonna be like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You should have added this, or, you know, you shouldn't use this. And that's fine. And the good thing about curly hair is just that everybody finds their own unique style. I'm just showing you what I do. If you want to do it this way, that's fine. You can kind of shift it, whatever works best for you. This is, I get stopped for my hair like sometimes 3 times a day on the daily, and they ask like, what do you use? Some people think it's a fake wig, and you would never think it. Seeing it wet, you're like, yeah, okay. You don't have great curls. Like, who would think that this turns into what it's gonna turn into later? It's magical. So I'm almost done with my finger coiling. I'm honestly stalling because this part is gonna be like the hardest, because that's where the real styling happens. Like here, I'm like, I don't care where this hair falls. It's just gonna be, you know, wherever. But this one, I actually have to, you know, part. I gotta get my bangs out. Like, here we go. We gotta find my bangs. And I cut them myself, my bangs. My mom is a stylist, so she cuts my whole hair. Like, I wouldn't dare cut my hair. She cuts my hair and does the curly girl style haircut, and she's been cutting my hair for years. But the bangs, that was one day on a whim. I'm like, I wonder how I would look with bangs. And I grabbed my craft scissors and I literally just went chop. And now every time there's like a hair, like, so like if you see it, it'll probably be like all different sizes. But I don't care because it's curly. Like, I'm not gonna straighten my hair. I haven't straightened my hair in 3 years. That's another thing. People are like, oh, my hair doesn't curl that way. And they're like looking at me. They're talking to me with their hair straight, with their hair straightened. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell you the reality of this. Heat is the problem. It's not your curls. If you want curls, you gotta stop straightening your hair. So it's a commitment. You have to make the commitment that you want curly hair, and you're gonna accept and embrace your hair where it is right now. So if those curls are not like the curliest, it's okay, because it's gonna change. It's gonna shift eventually. But for right now, this is what you're working with. And it's hard to sit in that, you know? It's the same thing with like changing your body. Like right now, I'm trying to like lose weight and go to the gym. And I'm like, okay, this is the body I'm working with. So when it's time to go out and I wanna wear a nice outfit, I gotta deal with the chichos that I have. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm working with. It's not gonna happen overnight because of the damage that we've done. So now we have to fix that damage. We have to start from the beginning. And heat damage is, you know, it takes time to reverse. I read somewhere, and I don't know how accurate this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you straighten your hair, it takes a month for your hair to recover from the heat. A month. So imagine if you're straightening it constantly. You know, I mean, I'm not against straightening your hair. I haven't straightened it in I want to say 3 years. I haven't straightened my hair. But I used to straighten it all the time. So when I started wearing it curly, I was like, okay, I guess my curls changed after I had kids. And I'm like, oh, maybe my hormones shifted, but that's not what it was. It was just my hair was in recovery mode. It was it just needed to find itself again. So it went on this journey. My neighbors are looking at me like, what is this lady doing? I'm standing by my window because that's the best light, and recording myself. But yeah, so it's like you need to really just embrace where you are and say, this is my curls for now. How can I make them look as best as possible? They're not gonna look like the next girl. Comparison is the thief of joy. They're not gonna look like mine. Maybe they will. But it's gonna look better than before because you took the time to really put the product in, to really distribute it. And you took the time to put the deep conditioning in it once a week so that it can receive the moisture that it needs. Now you can go with a store-bought deep conditioner, which is what I do. I use ID. I'll show you the bottle in a little bit. I just started using it and I love it. There's other deep conditioners out there that are great. Or you can go with the natural version. Sometimes I make like homemade concoctions with like avocado and honey and raw eggs. And what else do I throw in there? Aloe vera. Like, what's good for my hair? Let's get that in there. Rosemary oil. It smells like death. It really does. And I put it in my hair and I sit in it for like 20 minutes. I'll watch reruns of the Gilmore Girls and just like sitting there with my hair just smelling like all types of things. But the result is just healthy, luminous, shiny hair. Our hair needs nourishment. I know it's just dead cells, but if you want it to look good, you really gotta feed it. So here we are. We're at, oh, it's been 20 minutes, but that's just because I've been talking a lot. But we're at the finish line, or close to it, with the styling process. Now I'm gonna go in with my diffuser. Be back. So I'm done drying, and this is the final result of my curls. It did take long, I'm not gonna lie. It was not a short process, but it is always worth it. And my curls will last me all week if I wanted, but I freshen them up in the midweek. So when I wake up in the morning, if I see that one curl's out of place, I just wet it real quick, finger coil. If needed, I'll put the diffuser in there, but most of the time, it's just a quick refresh. And if I have to do the diffuser, you know, I do it for, 10 minutes or something. But this is the result of the curls, of the finger coiling. And you can see they're not like perfectly coiled. Like some of them are very, very defined. But my cheeks are really rosy because I was under a lot of heat. And if I do have some type of a cast at all, where my hair is kind of crunchy, you know how you get that crunchy consistency in your curls, depending on what you use, I always finish off with a Moroccan oil. This one is from Garnier, but I've used other brands as well. And I always switch it up because my hair, sometimes gets used to the same type of product. So I try to switch it up and keep my hair guessing. But an oil that has a light consistency, nothing too heavy. I don't know if you can see how this is kind of like just dancing around in the bottle. Something light. And again, we're not gonna use a lot. I'm gonna set the phone down so you can see how much I actually use. So this is the oil. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. A little bit. And then I just work it into my hands and scrunch it into my hair. Just scrunch it. And it adds that shine. And if it is a little crunchy at all, this will soften the curls. But right now, my curls are so super soft. This product is like, I don't know, it's just very delicate on your hair. So it doesn't really cause any type of a cast. If I wanted to later on in the day, once my hair is completely dry, I will separate these coils. But for right now, I don't want to mess with them because they might still be like, this one is like very, very defined. How pretty, I love it. But anyway, so like I'll separate it, but I don't want to cause any extra frizz. And I don't shy away from frizz. Frizz is just a natural part of curly hair, especially if you live in a humid climate. So I just embrace it. I embrace my hair where it's at. And this is where it's at right now. And that's it. Good luck.